How do I even begin? Every word I try to speak falls quiet when I think about that moment. Some connections aren't written in fate. They're drawn slowly by time, gently, silently. And time placed me in a space where my love remained only mine. A kind of love I could never speak aloud, even if I tried. This is an incredibly emotional and romantic story. So make sure to subscribe to my channel and listen till the very end. It all started when my daughter, Noor, went on a short graduation trip with her college friends. It wasn't meant to be anything significant, just a break after finals, some laughter and photos by the lake. But she came back with someone unexpected. "This is Rayyan," she said, stepping into the house, smiling. "He's my friend's cousin. He'll be staying a few days before heading back." He looked normal, bit shy, polite. But when his eyes met mine, there was a pause. Not the kind that makes you nervous, but the kind that feels like the world took a breath and forgot to let it out. He was just 24, much younger than me. And yet, in that split second, I felt seen in a way I hadn't felt in years. I didn't think much of it at first. He was just Noor's guest, that's all. But the house suddenly had a different air, warmer somehow. His laughter echoing down the hallway, the way he helped carry groceries without being asked, his calm tone when speaking to Noor, it all made him feel like he belonged. I caught myself smiling when I heard his footsteps from the kitchen. I started setting an extra plate without thinking. One afternoon when he thanked me for the tea I made, his voice was soft, too soft, and I realized I was remembering how he said it even hours later. I hated myself for noticing these things. 'Cause I was 32. He was 24. Because I was Noor's mother. Because I had no right to feel any of what I was feeling. But feelings aren't always invited. Sometimes they just happen. One night I couldn't sleep. The clock had crawled past midnight, and the moonlight slipping through the curtains painted strange patterns on the floor. I stepped out quietly to the kitchen to warm some milk, an old habit from the nights I couldn't silence my thoughts. He was already there, sitting at the dining table, half asleep, a book resting in front of him. "Oh," he said, smiling lazily. "Did I wake you?" I shook my head. "Couldn't sleep." "Same," he replied. It was quiet, the kind of quiet that didn't need to be filled. I poured 2 glasses of warm milk, offering him one. He accepted it without a word. And in that silence, our eyes met again. There was that pause again, that pull. "I like this house," he said suddenly. "Feels peaceful." I looked at him. It wasn't always peaceful. He didn't ask. He just nodded, as if he understood that everyone carries things they never say out loud. He got up a moment later, said goodnight, and disappeared into the guest room. I stood there long after he left, holding an empty glass, heart full of things I couldn't name. The days passed like gentle waves, and I, like a rock on the shore, waited silently as each one touched me and left. I knew it was wrong, what I was feeling. There were no words for it, no place for it in reality. But it wasn't about desire. It wasn't even about age. It was about connection. There was a softness in him, a rare kind of attentiveness. When I forgot where I placed my reading glasses, he found them without me asking. When I looked exhausted, he'd quietly start the tea kettle. And sometimes he'd sit across from me on the balcony, not talking, just being there. I don't know when that became my favorite part of the day. One afternoon it rained. Not the soft kind, the wild kind. The kind that makes you pause whatever you're doing and just watch. I was standing by the balcony railing, letting the breeze brush my hair back, when he came and stood beside me. "You like the rain?" he asked. "I used to," I said. "Until it started making me feel lonely." He looked at me then. Not the way someone younger looks at someone older, not with pity or admiration. Just pure understanding. "Sometimes," he said, "we need the sky to cry for us." Smiled. And for the first time in years, I felt my eyes well up. Not because of anything he said, but because he saw through me. Just then, Noor called from her room, and he left to help her with something. And the spell broke. That night, I sat on my bed and told myself it was all in my head. That I was foolish. That this wasn't love. Just misplaced emotions. Just the loneliness speaking. Just a harmless infatuation. I even told myself he probably didn't even notice the way I looked at him. But that lie shattered the next evening. I had just finished preparing dinner. Noor was out with a friend, and it was just him and me at the table. We ate quietly. Then he helped clear the dishes, his sleeves rolled up, arms wet from the water. I handed him a towel. Our fingers brushed. And we both froze. He looked at me. That same pause. That same depth. "I'm leaving in 2 days," he said softly. He nodded. "Yes," Noor told me. "I don't want to." The room fell into silence. The kind where even your heartbeat feels loud. "I feel something here," he said. His voice barely above a whisper. "And I don't know if I should." Could barely breathe. "You shouldn't," I said quietly. "But do you?" he asked. I looked away. After a long silence I whispered, "It doesn't matter." He nodded. "Maybe not. But I needed to know if I was alone in this." I turned to face him again. "You're not," I said. "But sometimes being together in silence is all we're allowed." We didn't touch. We didn't move closer. We didn't cross the line. But in that moment, we were closer than anyone ever had been to me. He left 2 days later. Noor waved goodbye cheerfully. I stood at the door, pretending not to feel the ache deep in my chest. He didn't say anything. But just before stepping into the car he looked back, just once. Soft sad smile. And then he was gone. It's been 8 months. He never came back. Never messaged. Never called. And I never reached out either. Because sometimes love doesn't need a future. Sometimes it just needs a moment. One silent, unspoken, sacred moment. That stays with you. Forever. I still drink warm milk at midnight. Sometimes I pretend he's still sitting there. Smiling. Quiet. Seeing through me. And I smile back at the empty chair. Because in that memory, I was alive in a way I hadn't been for years. But as I sat there alone in my room, the silence around me made everything louder inside me. I looked around, wondering if this was all just a fleeting dream that had left a lasting bruise on my soul. He had walked into my life like a storm, gentle yet powerful enough to move everything inside me. And now, all that remained were echoes of his laughter and the ghost of his touch. I often ask myself, did I fall in love with the wrong person? Or just at the wrong time? No one would understand the ache hidden beneath my calm smile. To the world I moved on. But inside I still carried him with me, quietly like a secret folded deep in my heart. A secret no one could read except the night and maybe him if he ever remembered. Now, whenever I see the rain tapping against my window, it feels like a reminder of everything we were, and everything we couldn't be. And yet, despite the pain, I don't regret it. Because even for a short time I felt something real. Something unforgettable. Written by Isabella's Secret Affairs.